It's the Absurd American Nerdcast with your host, Dino Freddy and Mr. S.
It's the Absurd American Nerdcast. We've got Dino Freddy, and we got Mr. S. Today we're talking about inconsistencies and consistencies. So, let's dive into it.
No, go ahead. What's up
So
with the
yeah,
N1 Naboo
so-
Starfighter? Let me hear about it.
The N1 Starfighter 1 is one of my favorites, obviously, because I have this model of it. But
Yeah,
here's the thing about the Mandalorian. Yes,
The not modified version. Go ahead.
this is the not modified version. Now, his obviously has a hyperdrive put in here, and then it has the afterburner here. Okay?
Mhm.
So, in The Mandalorian, we see Grogu go from his seat up here where R2 is. Obviously,
R4.
there's...
Or R5.
Huh? This
Is that an R5 unit?
This is R2,
Yeah,
bro.
that's not the thing. Steven,
Um,
it's not the droid.
I'm getting there.
R5. All right, go ahead.
So, we see Grogu in his little
Yeah.
cockpit, and there's obviously a little tunnel here where he can go in and out. Where
Mhm.
does the carriage go? Because there's an engine right here that blocks it off, and in Phantom Menace, we see R2 get sucked up through here, and that's where the droid port is as well. So, when we see Grogu come out of the bottom of the ship, I want to know where this thing goes. Because there's like a huge engine blocking it.
Okay, so we have the same problem as Phantom Menace then. You just told me R2 went through the same way, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
but it had a port there. But they replaced it with an engine.
In Mandalorian?
Mm-hmm. So there's an engine where that port would be. And then they're swapping out this, like, co-pilot seat with the droid unit as if it's interchangeable. But it doesn't change the fact that they put this huge engine on the bottom of the N1. Where does these things come in and out of?
I'm gonna pull up the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter. Give me 1 second.
Welcome back to Star Command Steve. What's wrong with Star Wars and does it make sense?
Okay,
I nitpick, guys. I nitpick. But it's
well, let's see. All right, I'm looking at it right now. All right. Why can't I look at the bottom of this thing? That's what I want to know. Okay, so I'm gonna say yeah, it's nitpicking, but also they customized the entire ship from bottom to top. So that engine, that afterburner engine, is that the thing that's on top? That's the rev, like the head right there, like on the top.
okay, so you will have the hyperdrive and the front part of his engine, right? And then they have I forget what the second burner or whatever, where he can take off, not into hyperspace, but like just zip away really quick. I forget what the engine's called. It's literally right here.
Okay,
Right.
but what about this? What about like, all right, when you see this, like you look at the ship, right? Like this is the Lego.
I'm talking about
But,
the
like-
underpart. The underpart, bro.
No, that's not what they literally rebuilt the entire ship. What are you talking about? I know what you're talking about, but that's how R2 got in the other time. So do you think they moved the afterburner or whatever the fuck it is to the front? And that's what this is?
No, you're not understanding. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You need to see the under part of the ship where there is a huge jet terminal.
There's a legit turbine right there.
There's
The big,
3 engines. You have the 2 on the sides.
obviously, and the one in the front.
The engines in the front.
The afterburner's in the back.
Yes. Where the port is.
Where is it? Let me see it.
Port where
Show
R2
everybody.
goes in. Do you see the butt?
Everybody.
Do you see
Show
the butthole?
everybody.
Do you see
I see the
butthole?
butthole.
That is
Yeah, that's
port.
where R2 goes through.
Okay.
So what's...
This is where they put
Okay.
an engine. It sticks
Hey,
out
buddy.
like this.
Sir?
It covers it up now. My point is, this droid terminal, it's like the only place where this can go because it's a very small, compact little machine. They took that out to put a basically a co-pilot seat for Grogu, which makes sense. That's fine. But then in this season, they put back the droid thing, and they don't show the droid going in and out. You know why? Because it's blocked by an engine.
Hold on.
Press my case.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Thank you.
But hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna try to disprove this. Hold on. You know me.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this. Hold on. Let me.
I
All
will.
right. So it was when he goes to Mandalore. Is that episode 2 or 3 of the season?
He goes and seeks out Bo-Katan and
Is that third episode?
No, man, these are like blurring together. The first episode, we go back to the cult. Not the cult.
Mine's a Mandalore. Okay, hold on. Let me look up this real quick. Hold on, because I know what you're talking about. Din Djarin gets captured. Grogu drops out, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on. I'm looking for it right now. I have that episode pulled up. All right, hold on.
Because, yeah, he just is in his carriage.
I'm looking. I'm looking at it right now.
Bottom, and I'm like, where the heck did he come out from?
Hold on.
And then he goes back to Tatooine where they pick up the droid. And then this is even more confusing because now there's a droid in that same port and a carriage. Like his floating carriage. Like, this Naboo's starfighter is like... It's got some trunk space, you know?
Alright, I'm watching the scene right now. Hold on. I'm gonna share my screen. I can't share my screen. Okay, that's cool too. You know what? I didn't want to share my screen anyway. That's fine. Yeah. Alright, let's see. Alright, this thing... Let me see this R5 unit go down. Oh, he comes out behind the afterburner. But that doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
Hold on. Alright, hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. Because where the droid port is and where that fucker popped out, he would have had to do like some bend. Hold on. Unless it's... Hold on. This motherfucker's about to drop straight. Hold on. Alright. Yeah, Disney, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's just one of those things where you're just like, yo, am I stupid? Or does this
They should have just had the droid pop up like R2 does in the in Anakin. You know that starfighter Anakin drives?
Yeah.
And like in Revenge of the
Sith?
Sith? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could jump out like that.
Right, that makes a lot more sense.
What bullshit sorcery? I understand this is like...
But then you watch you watch the Phantom Menace and you watch Anakin in the cockpit and then you...
Doesn't he get dropped in? No, or does he come up?
He gets sucked up.
Okay, well the afterburner... Alright, well the afterburner isn't there yet. In Phantom.
Right, that's my point.
Okay, so that's why he can go up.
That's how the droid gets sucked into this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the droid port back in, which would make it sound like it's the original droid port from the original Starfighter, which would have pulled him up like that. But then they installed that beautiful engine. Please, I'm not criticizing. I love the N1. I love the N1 so much. I thought I wanted a Razor Crest. Oh, no. I want an N1. But those little tiny, choices just did not make sense. Oh, it's okay. Grogu just floats up from the bottom. Where did he come out from?
No, actually, he didn't float up. When he got back in the ship, he jumped in. But I don't know where his thing came out of. Like his little holder.
Right.
His carriage.
There's definitely a scene of him just...
I don't understand this. If someone can leave in the comments and explain it, please let me know.
Like,
Because it's not in the book.
if there was like a way for his carriage to like come in and out the top port, that would have made sense to me. Like, oh, okay, it just sucks down, and then there's like his little seat where he can strap in and be safe. But then like, it can just eject out the top and float around. But they had it float from the bottom.
Mistakes were made. You know, mistakes were made.
Hire me. I will watch your stuff and tell you where you missed, where things don't really line up.
Hey, Lucasfilm.
I'm a super nerd that nitpicks. You know what? There's another one.
But this is coming from the same place that said Palpatine returned somehow. So I don't know what you want from me.
This is coming from the same guys that in the series Kenobi, when he takes the jump ship to save the people to veer off Anakin, Darth Vader, so that they would chase him instead. You tell me that ship that everyone was on has room and a jump ship in that small room that they keep walking in and out of to talk to Leia?
Leia's in that show? Oh, little Leia.
Little Leia, yeah.
That's right.
There is not room on that ship for a jump ship. You cannot tell me otherwise. That is a transportation class ship. There is no jump ship on that. Nope. Where'd it come out of? It doesn't even make sense. It just shoots out the back.
It was like also like I think honestly the biggest fumble within Disney and Star Wars was in Last Jedi. And I'm not saying, I mean, as the whole story for that movie was terrible, the cinematography, and we talked about this before, score was amazing, acting was great. But the biggest fumble, I think, in Last Jedi that kind of trumps this is remember when Rey's taken hostage with the one blade, but he magically loses the second blade out of his hand? It gets edited out or something like that, and she's like, but you know, if you had that second blade, you could just shiver real quick and just end Kylo. Like, alright, plot hole. Anyway, what was another one?
The plot hole that Rey just has abilities and powers.
With zero training.
Zero training.
I mean, you know, one thing about Rey that I will say, like, if we're talking about Force dyads, and this is like a thing they introduced, because like the Chosen One is a dyad of the Force of the Light. If Rey was the Light, what about Anakin? How come his powers didn't manifest the same as Rey's? Right. Or Luke, or Leia, for that matter? Because, like, I think it would have...
my point.
Like, why is it not consistent? Is it like it skips two generations? Is it like twins type of thing? Like,
do you just magically wake up and go, "Oh, I'm one with the Force," and the Force is...
Yeah, and then like they said, well, okay, the timeline between Force Awakens and Last Jedi is 1 week. You're telling me in 1 week she learned those powers?
2 words, baby. Training montage.
Rise of Skywalker showed her training for 5 seconds. And she had... Luke was like, hey, I'm going to teach you 3 lessons. He only taught her 2. That's it. That's it, baby. I don't know. I just feel like this whole... Like, I've been kind of... like receding out of the Star Wars fandom, and I know that's kind of like hard for me to say because I've been a fan for it for so long, and I don't care because it's it's not gatekeeping, it's not this, it's not that. Like, logically, these stories need to make some kind of fucking sense, a base within reality, and I can argue, or we can conversate, or we can debate on what's great and what's not great in Star Wars. But at the end of the day, this needs to have a ground in reality. And once you take the reality out, like I know, because, okay, when you're saying, well, it's a sci-fi fantasy show, it's make-believe. True, but if the characters can still walk on the floor and there's gravity, there's reality.
Right.
I know it's in space. I know it's a space opera, and I know that they use magical powers within the space. But you're also telling me that people in real life that study the cosmos or study the stars because they're astrology majors and they get to still walk on the ground, you're telling me that they're not living in a fantasy and this is a fantasy sci-fi? Where's the difference?
Right.
What's the difference? I want, like, you're showing inconsistencies. It's been showing inconsistencies since Last Jedi. Force Awakens, I'm not going to ever talk really bad about that movie because one, Harrison Ford really wanted to get out of that, stop being Han Solo. He wanted to die off, and that was his only wish was for Han to die, and I accepted that. And even in
Right.
interviews, he said that he was like, I want to kill off my characters. I'm done. Indiana Jones, I'm done. Deckard from Blade Runner, I'm done. Like, mad respect, go for it. But like, Force Awakens was such a great build up to a stunning start.
Right.
The one fumble in that movie was Starkiller Base. You know why? Because someone did the math about the Starkiller Base absorbing a star.
Right.
It only was able to kill 5 planets. In reality, that would give it enough power to kill 1,000 planets. Because the math has been done. I think Neil
Neil
I'm
deGrasse
gonna,
Tyson.
yeah, he did the math on it, and he was like, that was like the one letdown about that movie was that the writers undersold Starkiller Base. You could wipe out an entire star system with that fucking thing.
I mean, don't they kind of do that in the movie though? Don't they hit like 4 planets at once?
Yeah, they hit the New Republic's core world because Coruscant went to Hazine Prime. Like they just were like, well, Coruscant has been in the fucking atmosphere of the old Republic, and we are the New Republic. We're the new alliance. We want to have a fresh start. So they go to the Hazine Prime system, and they destroy the entire system with one hit. But it was like, well, it doesn't have enough energy, and this is all it's doing. You could have just destroyed the entire Star Wars galaxy in one movie. True story. It would have taken a while, but you would have done it.
That would have been an interesting arc too.
Mm-hmm. Also, they were using the planet Ilum as Starkiller Base. Ilum turned into Starkiller Base. You played whoever played Fallen Order, whoever's watched the Clone Wars show, Ilum, where the Jedi went to get their Kyber crystals, got turned into Starkiller Base. So they literally transformed a planet to Starkiller Base. Cool. Just make sure you do the math correctly. Like with the inconsistencies in Last Jedi. The whole parentage of Rey didn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Like they're nobody. They're drunk traders that sold her for drinking money. They're Palpatine's clone. She's the granddaughter. Then, Rey becomes really powerful. And then Palpatine's like, hey, Palpatine's like, if you strike me down, I will become more powerful, and then you would become all the Sith. Rey did what he asked. So is she all the Sith and all the Jedi? What?
All powerful, all of it.
And then I read an article recently about who's the gentleman? Jonathan Boyega, who plays Finn. Was like, I come to terms on how Finn was treated. I would have not. I understand you're in the business. I understand you need to have an acting career, and I get it. But fucking hell, stick up for yourself. I'm sorry. I don't know him personally, but like if my character was being portrayed as shit, like for instance in Game of Thrones, the person who plays the spider, he was killed off. He hated it, and then you could see the whole every interview after season 8, everyone was like, "This is what it is."
Yeah.
It's a global phenomenon. This is like the biggest IP in the world, one of the biggest IPs in the world next to Disney's brand.
Right.
Harry Potter, fuck, I know it doesn't really scratch the surface of Harry Potter because it doesn't have the same like commercial value,
Right.
but like if you're looking for consistency, like you need it. That's why there were books written. And now now with like watching Mandalorian, I'm watching the whole story unfold. So if anybody's ever read the books back in the day, Heir to the Empire, it's a fantastic book series. And I think they're really going to portray that. They're going to portray Thrawn's trilogy. They introduced him in Clone Wars because that's when he was introduced. He met Anakin, yada yada yada. In Rebels, he took Ezra. Ezra and him are in the unknown regions. We do not know if Ezra is still a good person or a good Jedi. We don't know that.
True.
And most likely, he's not going to be a good Jedi anymore. He's going to fall to the dark side with Thrawn. And he's going to become the sorcerer, or what, I forget the hermit's name, or whatever it is, the one that's in the Heir to the Empire, the baddie that works with Thrawn.
Okay.
That's going to be the Ahsoka show. The Heir to the Empire is the Ahsoka show, and then Thrawn's placed in his age at the appropriate time for Heir to the Empire. And that's just how Thrawn is now. That's the next step. Now with Mandalorian, I've read that, or I've heard, I think we've talked about it, me and you, or I was talking to my friend our friend Braden. We were thinking, will Grogu become the leader of the Mandalorians? No. I really don't think Grogu will be the leader of anything. He's too young. He's still in his 50s. He's learning to talk. He's not going to become anything.
Right.
It is setting up for either Din Djarin or Bo-Katan becoming Mandalore the Great and restoring the Mandalorian order.
Mm-hmm.
Bo-Katan is keeping the Mythosaur to herself, except
With one
the
person.
armorer.
Yep.
The armorer. She was like, "Hey, I saw a real Mythosaur," and she's like, "Well, visions, come to those who deserve it." Yada yada yada. And then it was me and Braden. We were talking about this, and then he was like, "Well, she did notice that it was like, well, that's if it's real, she knows it's real because she says, well, this is the way."
Mm-hmm.
So did she know about it, and nobody has done anything about it to reclaim to become the tamer of this mythosaur and become Mandalore the Great? Because that's the title of the leader, and she's kept her helmet on, but also she still has another obstacle. She has to get the Darksaber from Din.
Right.
Who Din is just using it as an accessory right now. He doesn't use it as his full weapon.
Well, he can't wield it.
He doesn't know how.
Right.
It's a very, like, we saw Bo-Katan use it because she's used it before multiple times, and that's consistency. And if you and I'm bringing it back full circle right now. If you have consistency within your stories, and I know if you keep pumping out thousands and hundreds of stories a year, or a lot to saturate the market, you're going to fumble. And I only see the only thing that's really keeping the consistency alive is the High Republic books. Because they are just being flushed out and they are branching out. Like if a major book comes out, 2 books come out to explain. Like side books. And I feel like if you're doing that, like, I understand going back and forth through time is great. Bad Batch is in another part of this history.
Right.
Kenobi was in another part of the history. Mandalorian is right now 8 years after Return of the Jedi. Because Jon Favreau, I believe, said Grogu was training for 2 years with Luke Skywalker. That's why he's able to jump. That's why he's able to do this. That's why he's able to do that.
Right.
Cool, consistency. But when you're saying like minor stuff like that, I get it. Like it's annoying to try to figure it out, and it's annoying to try to figure this. But again, it has to be grounded in reality. Like fantasy needs a realistic ground, and then you can build whatever you want on it.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's no consistency, what's the point of telling these stories? Why am I the fan that has been loyal for more than 2 decades saying, "Hey, I'm not digging this anymore." Because of how characters are being treated. Luke Skywalker being treated like a fucking hermit. I didn't want to see a Yoda part 2. That's not Luke Skywalker.
Right.
He's at this point he's supposed to be a grand master of his Jedi Order. And then later on, the Yuuzhan Vong, Abeloth, and all that stuff happens. But that's way late. That's 40 years down the road than where we are right now. And I feel, since the recent Coruscant episode, where we saw the guy, that was important. And I please, understand, that is consistency. Don't say it has nothing to do with the Mandalorian, because I see a lot of people bitch, IGN, fucking Game Rant, Screen Rant, all of them and other YouTubers that are like, well, this doesn't make sense. Why are we watching this guy, this cloner? Because it sets up and it's trying to fix Rise of Skywalker. And that's why they're trying to consistency, because we see a Snoke clone in Season 2 of Mandalorian.
Yes.
This guy's research... what's his name? Do you remember his name?
I
The
don't
scientist?
remember the doctor. They always called him doctor, so that's what I...
Doctor, scientist, cloner, engineer, cloning engineer, whatever.
Right.
He's very important because, in the original books, Palpatine becomes a clone. That's ripped from the books of Dark Empire. That's a real thing. I'm not mad about that. Stop saying it has nothing to do because you're trying to watch historical events happen within this shit. And no matter what the director wants you to see and what you're watching is consistency. If you do that correctly, you can fix stuff. But you should have fixed that when writing the script first off for the movie that you're pumping out. And they, Disney and Lucasfilm admitted, when Rise of Skywalker came out, after that whole thing was done and that trilogy was done, they had no direction. They had no idea what they were doing. They had, I think J.J. Abrams even said at one point, it was oh yeah, we were going to make her a Kenobi, or we were going to make her this. And I'm like, well, if she was a Kenobi, it wouldn't have worked because the only person Kenobi would have ever left the Jedi Order was for Bo-Katan's sister, Duchess Satine.
Right.
And he almost did. He almost left.
That's why...
And that's...
If Anakin would have opened up to him and really talked to him, Obi-Wan would have really helped him out a lot.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're seeing... Because Kenobi's on the council, there's resentment. There's resentment because he's being held back. And there's this thing I read online that I'm not really... to me, I think it's a theory, but it's a very plausible theory. Because, after the showdown with Mace Windu and Palpatine... and Mace were to come back after defeating Palpatine, he would have promoted Anakin to Master right there. Because he knew Palpatine had a hold of him. He was being persuaded. And at that moment when he's like, well, Anakin, from you telling me this, you have gained my trust. That's a big step, Anakin. That's consistency.
Right.
That's good story writing, and I understand a lot of people are very iffy when it comes to the prequels, but there's consistency with the prequels. There's consistency with the original trilogy. Watching, just because it looks cool, the N1 Starfighter looking the way it does, it looks fucking dope. Don't get me wrong. But to make it make sense, have a droid import right there. Or have... Grogu's thing be on the back or the side or in a capsule or somewhere.
Right.
That just figure it out. If it's an attachment underneath after the afterburner.
Right.
Cool. That would have been dope. I'm happy to see Ahmed Best back in the Mandalorian as the Jedi Master who saved Grogu. I thought that was awesome. Bringing him back.
That was a beautiful redemption moment. The fact that because his Jar Jar character got bullied, he was, almost near suicidal?
He almost jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge because he almost wanted to kill himself. Because of how terrible the fandom is.
Right.
The fandom menace. The
fact that they offered him the spotlight to come back and to be able to redeem himself and be in a very awesome position. Just thank you.
Here's this.
People that love Star Wars, and I mean, even so, I don't really enjoy Jar Jar Binks, but knowing that everything that happened and giving him that opportunity. Thank you. Shout out to you guys. That's amazing.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like Jake Lloyd got fucked up from this. He loved Star Wars as a child, and the fandom literally tore him from that. And don't get me wrong. Like he's resentful because I get it. Like it is a select few, but like at the end of the day, we want better for these people. We want better for these actors. Like John Boyega, I want better for him. I wish his character was more fleshed out. I really do. He deserved that. He is a phenomenal actor. Everybody that was in the sequels and the prequels, and I feel like they should have been fleshed out a little bit better. And yeah, did they deserve hate? No. No. None of them deserved hate at all. Like, why would you bully a child? Like, he's been directed to be acting the way he's supposed to be acting. So whoever's saying bad shit, just shut the fuck up. But when there's not consistency and there's not grounded reality, I just feel like a lot of things fall apart, and that's where people get very angry. And they become quick to angry because you're fucking with something that's been around since the 70s that people have fell in love with.
Right. And it's shared generationally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just hate to see it handled this way. That's why I'm stepping back. I haven't even watched Andor. I love Andor as a character, but did I really want to watch him join the rebellion? Not really. But I'm glad to see that there is consistency on how to show the historical, thing for the rebellion. I'm glad to see the formation of it because you still have to fill gaps within the historical timeline.
I've been enjoying Andor, and it does very much fill in gaps of how the rebellion was built.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very, very good. Circling back to Mandalorian, bringing up that character and everything, breaking down his scene, it makes you really kind of think about some stuff because we need to know who really is behind helping getting Grogu out. We know who got him out of the temple, but when they're escaping, did we notice who was on the platform?
So yeah, so the people that were on the platform, they were from Naboo. Those are, if you ever watch the first movie, like that Naboo ship
I mean, that's
that they're
Padme's
on.
ship
That's
from
yes.
the animation series.
So
like, that's
it's probably Bail Organa. No, yeah, around that time, Bail Organa's alive because in Revenge of the Sith.
It's either that's one person. Then yeah,
it's either Bail Organa, Yoda's already on Dagobah at that point. Obi-Wan's already on Tatooine. It's Bail Organa. We're gonna see Bail Organa again.
Because of the Naboo guards,
or
Jar Jar.
Maybe Jar Jar. I would, man. If no, here's the problem with Jar Jar. Can't be Jar Jar because of consistency. In Empire's End, the books that came out during Force Awakens, Jar Jar was depicted as a street peddler. He's not in this. He hated that he gave Palpatine power, that he became a circus clown. That's in the books. That is canon.
Okay.
So
on another redeeming moment for Jar Jar.
I would love a redeeming moment for Jar Jar. I wish Jar Jar got whatever the fuck he deserves. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I hated him, as a child. Like, I didn't really like him. He's not like Chewbacca. He's not C-3PO or R2-D2. But
he needed to have that hidden Sith Lord arc.
I think that's too much. That's too much. If he was a Sith Lord, if it really was aiming towards that, cool. That's what the story was, cool, go for it. But it's not. It's just, he needs a redeeming arc where he actually finds a meaningful thing, maybe within the rebellion, maybe working for Saul Guerrera or with the Gungans, moving them to a different thing, trying to focus on their tribe before getting out because he learned his mistakes and getting them out of the water. You know what I mean? But like,
you know where Jar Jar needs to go. He needs to go onto Bad Batch. He needs to go help them on this island that they landed on that had a seismic wave that almost totaled the island for Solitude. They need to take Jar Jar to that island and give them Gungan technology so that that island will never be swept away and it's completely waterproof. They turn on the shields,
That
we have an
that
atmosphere.
or Mon Calamari people. Like
There you
that
go.
Mon Calamari would be dope.
Yeah.
I th- I haven't watched any of the Bad Batch, and I think I've talked to you about this. I haven't watched a single thing about the Bad Batch, except for the first season, and that was good. It was good to me. I'm stepping away because I feel like things are a little too ridiculous.
Fair enough.
It was ridiculous.
It's this current season's been a little bit more interesting because there's less and less and less and less clones, and they're figuring out that they're basically killing them off and stealing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what is there? Is there a droid rebellion, right? I mean, a clone rebellion going on right now because of Wexer. There's
There's
what
about
is
to
it?
be because they're saving clones from the Empire from imprisonment. So they're starting to realize that all clones are just being imprisoned. So there's about to be a clone rebellion.
Mm. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to hear about it. If I find it worthy, I'll watch it. But right now, I'm waiting. Like, what is it?
You get to hear about it from me anyway.
I
I
mean, yeah,
basically
that's
tell you
true.
about it.
You've been watching it. I've been watching. I've been kind of since I've been stepping away from Star Wars. I've been kind of finding other stuff like documentaries, and I've watched a couple of the Oscar nominees and winners for movies and stuff. And the Oscars happened. We didn't really talk about it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once was awesome.
It's pretty much
Like,
swept the board, didn't it?
well, they did, and I'm glad Brendan Fraser won for The Whale. Thank God, because
What an emotional
man,
speech.
yeah. That was good. That was a very good heartfelt moment, and I'm glad he won. Um, there were a little pettiness within the crowd. I don't know if others have watched, but there were a little pettiness. Uh, even though if someone loses, you got to stand up and clap for them. Be a good sport. Don't be a dick.
No.
Because you're in the front row. And if you watch the Oscars and who won Best Actress or Supporting Actress, I get it. I get why. Like, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Do I think she would have deserved Best Supporting Actress? Not really, because I've rewatched Everything Everywhere at Once. She's just there. I think the girl who played the daughter should have gotten that 100%. But there is somebody in the front row that does not stand, and it just kind of irked me a bit. And I get it.
Yeah.
Like, you
Let's just
lost,
be respectful.
but dude, I would have showed you the same respect. Just come on,
I'm
two-way street.
surprised that Elvis didn't win Best Actor.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah.
And Tom Hanks is Best Supporting. I don't know. I thought that movie was really awesome, but I also didn't see whatever that movie title was. I didn't see that.
You should watch it. I think you should, after this podcast, watch that movie. I have never watched something so beautiful in my life. From cinematography, it's
really
great.
Amazing.
I think it's the most accurate thing of a multiverse movie I've ever seen.
Like a real life,
like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I wanted Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness to really be. And it wasn't. Even though I liked the movie, I just... Also, stop hating Love and Thunder. People hate Love and Thunder. Like, Christian Bale gave us one of the coolest villain moments, even though he was just there. The God Butcher.
I just feel like there should have been more God butchering and less orgies.
Yeah. But what do gods do? Especially Greek gods, especially Roman gods.
The better way to say that was like, I didn't want it to be more comedy. I wanted it to be more action, and instead we got more comedy than the action.
So in that storyline, Thor, God of Thunder, It's dark. It literally opens, the first couple of panels opens with Frost Giant's heads mounted on pikes bleeding.
Okay.
And Thor is literally drinking with the people that he saved, and it gets darker. I mean, there are some moments that are cheery and light, but also like it's dark. Jane Foster, I love Jane Foster's Thor. She's not dead. She's coming back. It's in the storyline. I wish it was more of that. But like what we got, this was a COVID film movie. A bunch of these movies that are coming out from Marvel are COVID filmed movies still.
Yeah.
Give it some slack. Just give it some slack. And I will say, probably in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll have actual productions. I mean, we're still having productions done right now, but they're still like
big production.
like that we don't really have to worry about it anymore.
Like Mandalorian,
Even though it's,
I would say is like a medium production compared to like a full-length Star Wars movie.
yeah, because they use the dome. They use that dome area
Right.
for a lot of their scenes, which is beautiful technology. I love it.
Like if they have like 1 or 2 sound stages and they're interworking and doing their filming, that's like a small medium. Yeah, if you have like the big sound stage and 6 others because you're trying to do a movie, big production. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Give it some slack. Like Ant-Man Quantumania. It's an Ant-Man movie. It's like Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was not bad. You just liked Ant-Man and the Wasp a little bit better because it did not have Kang in it. Speaking of Kang, oh boy, we got some news last night from Jonathan Majors. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing. I don't know what the full story is because right now it's a domestic charge. What's the future for that actor? Are they gonna... We saw all the variants with his face on it.
Right.
This is kind of bad for him. Until there's more, because it just happened last night. I'm waiting to hear more about it. I'm not going to quickly write somebody off until I know that for sure he actually did it.
Right.
And that goes for a woman too.
Yeah.
Unless I hear that she actually did it.
But do you think it's going to affect just in general?
Yeah.
With
Maybe.
him? Just
Maybe.
because of the charge in general. Even if it goes through the trial and it goes through and it's disproved, right?
Okay, so
relieved
Justin
of all.
Rowland
Just
got
because-
written off real fucking quick. And he was the co-head of that show. But apparently, so it looked better. He wasn't working with the studio for years. Maybe. I don't know if that's true too, because I don't work in there. But until I hear something about it and it's actually, like, for sure, I will wait and make my judgment.
Right.
But this does not say that I support it in any way. Because if you do that shit, you're a piece of fucking shit and you deserve to get fucking put away for life. Or get the shit kicked out of you every day of your life in prison. I don't take that kindly. People who do that to women are lower than fucking dirt.
Right.
But I want to know the facts before anything, and that's, if it comes to be like that, watch how fast he goes away. Watch how fast
He'll be ripped to pieces.
Which sucks, because he had a promising career, and he is a fantastic actor.
Right.
But fucking hell, here's another thing about it too. Like, you're watching these people bulk up for their roles. Obviously, there's some kind of maybe not steroid enhanced, but look what happened with Chris Benoit back in the day because he was a roid guy. He killed his wife and he killed. Like that happened, and WWE did a tribute because they didn't know the full story. But a lot of these actors have to bulk up really fast for their roles, and they have to use steroids. And if you're too roided out, you'll snap like that. You'll snap like that. And I'm not saying that he was roided out. I'm not saying it wasn't natural, but like, Just think about reality for a moment.
It could be roids. It could be a mix of something else.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Also, we don't know their relationship, what they're going through. She said that he was trying to look at her phone, or she was trying to look at his phone because she thought he was texting some other chick or something like that, and I was like, that's dicey, bro. That's dicey. That sucks.
In the
But also,
industry
you
that
have
he's in, how do you get jealous of other women when he? Never mind. Like he still comes home to you.
well. Here's
So,
this.
I mean,
Well, here's the okay. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. If you're working, don't get jealous. I wouldn't get jealous because that's work. But if you're texting a bitch outside of work, you gotta chill. Stop.
right.
Just stop. It's
But if
that
they're-
easy. Stop.
What if the other girls are texting him like about work, but it's not during work hours though?
Then why was he so defensive? Why was it?
I mean,
Because there was a
there's that
cab
too.
driver. He was using a cab with his girlfriend. That's where the That's where the outside witness was the cab driver. That's what was in the article. He's denying it.
I don't know. I can't speak for him. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like the industry that he's in. He's got to talk to women all the time because that's the industry he's in. There's actors, actresses, and I'm sure that they like want to run lines, run scenes, and stuff, so that when they go to work.
What if it's
But-
not? Like that's kind of a scumbag shit thing to do.
Right.
Really. Don't fucking be like that. Don't be a scumbag. Don't be like that guy.
I'm not trying to defend anything. I'm just,
No.
I
No,
don't know,
I'm just
I don't know all the context, so
again, this just happened yesterday. So we're all waiting for it. We're all waiting to hear, and I know everyone's waiting on the edge of the seat because it's being leaked on every. Like I think TMZ leaked it.
and Disney and everything will drop you so fast too.
Yep. Also Justin Roiland got his charges dropped, and he's trying to clear up his name right now. But I don't think he's going to clear up his name that well because of that. Multiple people were saying the same thing.
Right.
I really don't think he's going to come back in any other way.
Well, luckily there's the one TikTok guy that does Rick.
The Morty, yeah, he does the impersonations very almost spot on.
So like, I mean, even Justin himself said there's very little times that you can't tell the difference between the two of them. And I'm like, well, that guy just got hired. If they want someone, this is just like Rick and Morty got so huge, and then they just dropped, and then they promised us so much, and they dropped.
And then they delivered on something great. Last season was the best thing I've seen on that show.
Right, but we were also promised more seasons. We still haven't gotten.
Yeah, because of what's happened with him.
I know. I'm just saying, like.
You can you. That's the thing. Like being promised stuff. Like, I was promised a fucking great Star Wars movie.
And then you didn't get it.
I was promised.
But there's also people out there that can step up and help you continue without the one person, especially since, I mean, discoverability through the interwebs is insane now. And I mean, just that one, I forget the guy's name, but we'll put it in the description. We'll put it up on the video as well. But I mean, I watch his video because it's absolutely amazing. And even more so, he changed his name from, it was originally Morty Says to his name. I just forget his name. It's Something Says now. Because he wanted to branch out and be more of a voice actor. He just didn't want to be known for one voice or anything. He wanted to be known as a multitude. So he's already interested in being a voice actor. He's already interested in your content. Why not pick him up as, while Justin's doing all of this, as an alternate at least, so that you guys can pump out your content? And then now that all of this is going down, if you don't hire him back, now you at least have the guy that was very close, so that you can keep consistency. You know. I mean,
what about like? Okay, do you really want them to pump out content when you have something like this? Because at the end of the day, do you think they'll be taking it seriously at the same time as making content? I'd rather them focus on one thing at a time. Like if you focus on what happened with Justin Roiland, and then the show Rick and Morty, with all its followers, and we've seen how crazy these fuckers are.
Right.
because of the Szechuan sauce, bitches
Oh,
on
right.
counters clicking registers and being little fucking assholes. Do you really want to fucking do something multiple and still shit out multiple seasons while people shit on you? No, Dan Harmon does not want that. He wants consistency.
Okay.
And this episode's going to be called Consistency. I'm already titling it. So I'd rather them focus on one thing. And you know what? Right now we have multiple seasons already ordered. I think up to what season we are in 5 season. I think we have 3 more. It got renewed 3 more seasons. So we have a guaranteed for 3 more seasons of Rick and Morty.
Right.
I don't know how long more that show's going to go on for because you can only be a depressed fuck for so long until you end it, or you become a better person and your problems are fixed. But with a multiverse of problems, your problems won't get fixed if you are within the multiverse. Unless you become the better person within you yourself and stop being a bitch. Now, I'm not saying, like, if you're depressed, end it. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, what's the storyline going to be? What is it going to look like in 3 more seasons?
Right.
So, like, I'd rather them focus on one problem at a time, get it done, and then move on. Because season 4 was trash except for a couple episodes. I think the one episode I fucking hated from that season was the dragons having sex. And I think that was the dumbest. I watched probably until they were like, yeah, we're going to fuck and do this other stuff. I skipped that episode because it was stupid.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can agree with that. Yeah. I mean, we all watched it. It was terrible. It was like watching the holiday special for Star Wars or the Cursed Child for Harry Potter. Stop. Just stop. But we have 3 more seasons coming out. I'm excited for season 6. I don't think Justin Roiland will ever be tied to any other projects ever.
Yeah.
Unless it's in his contract that he gets royalties, which it's his characters, and he co-wrote it, so he's going to get royalties.
If you're just trying to become super
Here's
famous.
a real question I want to ask our audience. Do you guys want to see me and Steven in a student film together? Do you want us to act in something and we'll post it on the channel? I think that'd be pretty cool for our channel.
No, we did have a few ideas for like some
Shows.
skits and stuff from past experiences. I think it would be interesting. Able to tell these stories, but also be vague enough. But I think it'd be fun to tell these stories from our experiences in the theme park realm.
Yeah. Possum Park.
Yeah. That was such
a
great time.
I've thought about revisiting it because like I want it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Really want it out there. I have so many stories of like we could talk about this another time, not on the show, but
but
the material is just unlimited.
I feel like we're gonna bring an essence of that in these shorts that we're thinking about doing. So I really think that would be a fun way to get those out there too.
But you want to call it?
Yeah, we can call it. That's fine.
All right.
I'll edit this down.
Well, I'm Dino Freddy, your co-host on the Absurd American Nerdcast, and I'm followed by your friend
Mr. S. Also
Thank you for joining, everybody. Make sure you check out his streams on Twitch and also give us a like and follow. If you guys want to see more material like this in the future, let us know in the comments. And also, we do have a couple of things we will be working on to improve the channel. And if you guys notice anything that you like, dislike, just let us know. We are very open. And thanks again.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.
This has been the Absurd America Nerdcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. And click here for more.